I married my best friend's widow to save her daughter, but what I discovered years later shook me to my core. The woman who stood by me through every failure had been hiding a secret that could destroy everything I built. What she did next changed my life forever, and you will not believe how it all ends.
I know, sweetie. It's
Stay
over
with
now.
me to see how love, courage, and sacrifice turned the darkest
Agreed.
moments
Let's make it
into a
happen.
billionaire's greatest triumph. The rain was falling hard
Here,
the night
try
I
this.
married my best friend's widow.
That's good.
People
I knew
whispered
you'd like
behind
it.
my back.
You were right.
They thought I married her out of pity. Some believed I betrayed my friend. But none of them knew the truth. 5 years earlier, I was sleeping in my car. My pockets were empty. My dreams were laughed at. The business I built with my best friend had collapsed overnight. Our investors vanished. Our partners blamed me. And the man who once called me brother walked away with everything we built. The humiliation burned deeper than hunger. Then the worst call came. My best friend, Daniel, died in a sudden accident. At his funeral, I saw his wife Emma standing alone, holding her little daughter Lily. The wind was cold. Her eyes were colder. Not with anger. With fear. Daniel had left nothing behind. Death swallowed everything. That night Emma sat across from me in a tiny kitchen that smelled of cheap coffee and unpaid bills. "I am losing the house," she whispered. Little Lily was asleep on the couch, hugging a broken teddy bear. Something inside me broke. I promised Daniel once that I would always protect his family. So I did the only thing I could think of. I married Emma. Not for love. For survival. For Lily. The world mocked us. But Emma did something no one else ever did. She believed in me. While I worked through sleepless nights building a new company from nothing, she sold her wedding jewelry to pay our rent. When investors laughed in my face, she placed her hand on my shoulder and said softly, "One day they will beg to sit at your table." Years passed.
This is worse than I imagined.
Failures
It's a
piled
disaster.
up
We need
like
to act now.
mountains.
What's the next step?
But Emma never
contain
stopped
this.
believing. Then one morning, everything changed. A single deal turned my dying startup into a global empire. Today, they call me a billionaire. They celebrate my success. But they never ask about the woman who carried me through the darkest nights. Last week, while cleaning old papers in our office, I discovered something that made my hands tremble. A document. Hidden for years. Signed by Emma. And when I finally understood what she had sacrificed for my success, my entire world stopped. My hands began to shake as I read the document again. It was a property agreement. Emma had secretly sold the last piece of land Daniel left behind. The only inheritance meant for little Lily. And the buyer's name at the bottom froze my breath. It was the same ruthless investor who once destroyed my first company. The man who humiliated me in a crowded boardroom. The man who said I would never become anything. My chest tightened with confusion. Why would Emma make a deal with him? That night I sat across from her in the quiet living room. The same room where Lily once slept beside that broken teddy bear. The soft lamplight touched Emma's tired face. Years had placed gentle lines around her eyes. Lines of sacrifice. Lines of silent battles she never spoke about. I placed the document on the table. Her fingers trembled before she even touched it. "You knew," she whispered. The silence between us felt heavy. I struggled to control the storm rising inside me. Why would you sell Lily's future to the man who ruined mine? Emma lowered her eyes. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then a tear slipped down her cheek. "I did it for you." Her voice was soft, but it carried the weight of years. "You were drowning in debt. Your company was dying again. No bank trusted you. No investor would listen. I remembered those nights. The empty office. The unpaid workers. The crushing fear of failing again." Emma slowly pushed the document toward me. "There is another page." My heart pounded as I turned it over. A second agreement appeared. Signed the same day. My name was on it. But I had never seen it before. Emma looked at me with quiet strength. I made him invest in you. The room went silent. The ruthless investor had funded the very deal that saved my company. The deal that turned me into a billionaire. But the price of that investment made my stomach twist. Because the final clause revealed something I never knew. Something Emma had risked that night without telling me. And when I reached the last line of the contract, my heart nearly stopped. My eyes froze on the final clause. If my company failed again, the investor would take everything. Not just the business. The house. Emma's savings. Even the education fund meant for Lily. Emma had placed our entire future on a single gamble. On me. My throat tightened. You risked Lily's life for my dream? Emma shook her head slowly. No. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were shining with quiet strength. I believed in the man Daniel believed in. Her words cut deeper than any accusation. For years I thought I carried everyone. But the truth was harder to face. Emma had been carrying me. Through every failure. Through every night when doubt tried to break me. I sat there remembering the long nights in our tiny apartment. The smell of cheap noodles boiling in the kitchen. The cold winters when the heater barely worked. Emma typing invoices beside me at 2 a.m. Her fingers tired, but her spirit unbreakable. Back then I thought we were simply surviving. Now I understood something else. She was protecting my dream when I was too weak to protect it myself. I looked at her again. You trusted me with everything. Emma smiled softly. Not everything. Her words surprised me. There was one thing I never trusted you with. I frowned. What do you mean? She slowly stood up and walked to the old wooden cabinet in the corner of the room. The same cabinet that had followed us from our poorest days to this billionaire life. From inside it, she pulled out a small envelope. Yellow with age. Carefully sealed. My heart began to race again. Emma held the envelope gently. This arrived the night Daniel died. She placed it in my hand. It was addressed to you. The paper felt strangely heavy. Almost like it carried years of hidden truth. My fingers hesitated before opening it. Because suddenly I realized something terrifying. Daniel had left a message for me. And Emma had kept it secret for 10 long years. The envelope trembled between my fingers. 10 years of silence lived inside that thin paper. Emma watched me quietly, her eyes filled with something I could not name. Fear. Hope. Maybe both. I slowly broke the seal. The paper inside was folded carefully, as if Daniel knew this moment would come. His handwriting stared back at me. Strong. Familiar. Alive in a way that made my chest ache. For a moment, the room disappeared. I was back in the old garage where we built our first broken prototype. Oil stains on the floor. Dreams bigger than our pockets. Daniel always believed we would change the world. Even when the world laughed at us. My hands shook as I began to read. If you are reading this, it means I am gone. The words felt like a quiet punch to my heart. Emma lowered her eyes, giving me space to breathe. Daniel's letter continued. I know you will blame yourself for everything that happened to our company. My throat tightened. Because he was right. I had blamed myself every single day. For the betrayal. For the losses. For the collapse. A tear blurred the ink in front of me. But listen carefully, brother. You did not fail. The room felt suddenly smaller. The letter trembled as I kept reading. The truth is something I never had the courage to tell you. My heartbeat grew louder. Daniel had hidden something from me. Something even Emma never spoke about. I made a deal with someone dangerous before everything fell apart. My stomach twisted instantly. Because a terrible thought began forming in my mind. Daniel's next words confirmed my fear. The same investor who destroyed us. The paper slipped slightly in my hand. Emma stepped closer but said nothing. I forced myself to keep reading. I brought him into our company. My breath stopped. Daniel had invited the very man who ruined us. But the next line made my entire body freeze. And I did it to protect you. My hands went cold. I could barely breathe. Daniel had brought the same man who destroyed our dreams into our lives. And he had done it to protect me. I looked at Emma. Her face was calm, but her eyes were wet with unshed tears. You never knew, she whispered. I shook my head, my heart hammering. No. How? Why would he do that? The letter continued. He knew the company would fail without his interference. But he also knew your heart was strong. He believed you would rise again, if only given a chance. The room spun. I remembered every investor meeting, every negotiation, every cold rejection. I remembered the sleepless nights when I thought it was all my failure. But it had never been just me. Daniel had risked everything. Emma had risked everything. For me. For Lily. For a future they both believed I deserved. My hands shook as I clutched the letter. I realized then the depth of Emma's sacrifices. Every sleepless night, every sold piece of jewelry, every whispered word of encouragement. It was not just love. It was courage. It was faith. It was the quiet strength that had rebuilt me when I was ready to collapse. I looked at her and saw not just my partner, but my anchor. She had carried my broken spirit without complaint. And now, Daniel's words added another layer of weight. I had been standing on a bridge built by two people who loved me more than life itself. A bridge I almost destroyed with doubt and pride. I swallowed hard. You carried us through the darkest night, I said, my voice breaking. Emma nodded. But the darkest night is not over. I frowned. What do you mean? She walked over to the window and looked out at the city skyline. The investor, she said softly, he is coming back. And this time, he is not offering help. My stomach sank. The shadow of danger I thought had passed was returning. And this time, our future would be tested in ways we could not imagine. I felt a cold sweat creeping down my spine. The city lights outside the window blurred as my thoughts raced. The investor who once ruined everything, now returning. Emma's hand found mine. Her touch was steady, grounding me. I knew he would come back, she said quietly. That is why I made the sacrifices I did. Her voice carried the weight of 10 years of struggle, hope, and unwavering faith. I swallowed hard. 10 years. I whispered. 10 years you risked everything for me, for Lily, for us. Emma nodded. Not just for you. For all of us. But strength alone will not be enough this time. I looked at her, desperation and fear mingling in my chest. What do you mean? She turned to face me fully, eyes glistening with determination. He is not coming with a business offer. He is coming to destroy. To take everything we have built. A cold wave of panic washed over me. The thought of losing Lily's future, the empire we had painstakingly built. It was unbearable. But we cannot run, she continued. We must face him. Together. I closed my eyes, imagining the nights spent in that tiny kitchen, the endless hours of struggle, the sacrifices that had brought us here. Emma's hand squeezed mine. We are stronger than you think, she whispered. I opened my eyes and saw not just love, but a quiet power radiating from her. The kind of power that could move mountains. That could challenge fate itself. I realized then something I had never understood before. All my success, my wealth, my so-called victories. None of it mattered without the people who truly believed in me. And Emma, through every pain, every betrayal, every sleepless night, had been that unwavering belief. The investor's shadow loomed closer with each passing day. But now, I understood that fear alone would not define us. We had the courage, the wisdom, and the love to fight. And yet, as I prepared to face the storm ahead, a letter arrived. No stamp. No return address. Just a message that would change everything. I held the envelope in my hands, feeling its weight like a heartbeat. It was thin, but somehow heavier than the world itself. Emma watched me carefully, her eyes reflecting both worry and quiet courage. I tore it open slowly, afraid of what I might find. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten in a sharp, deliberate script. It made my pulse pound against my chest. The first line made my stomach tighten. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m., office floor 32. Come alone, or everything you love will be lost. My hand trembled as I read it again. The investor. He had sent a warning. A challenge. And it was clear he knew everything. The sacrifices Emma had made, the deals Daniel had secretly orchestrated, none of it had gone unnoticed. He was coming for more than money. He was coming for our lives. I looked up at Emma, my mind racing. Her expression did not waver. I knew he would send this, she said softly. And I have a plan. My chest tightened. A plan? After everything? Her fingers brushed mine, steady and warm. We cannot fight him with anger, she continued. We must fight him with truth. With courage. And with the alliances he does not expect. I swallowed hard. The weight of the empire we had built suddenly felt fragile. Every late night, every sleepless hour, every tear we shed. It could crumble in one morning. I felt fear, real and sharp, like icy blades against my skin. Yet beneath the fear was something else. A spark. A realization that Emma and I had survived worse. We had built this life from nothing. And now, nothing in the world could prepare me for what was coming. Emma handed me a folder, neatly organized. Inside were plans, contacts, and strategies I had never seen before. She had been preparing for this day silently, carefully, for months. My love, she said, her voice steady, this is more than business. This is our lives, our family, our truth. I nodded slowly, feeling a mixture of awe and fear. Tomorrow would decide everything. And yet, a small, dangerous thrill stirred inside me. For the first time in years, I felt alive. Because we were no longer just survivors. We were warriors. And the battle had only just begun. The next morning arrived colder than I expected. The sky was gray, heavy with clouds, and the city seemed to hold its breath. I drove in silence, Emma beside me, her hand resting lightly on mine. Neither of us spoke. Words were useless now. We reached the building, glass towers reflecting the weak morning sun. Floor 32. The elevator ride felt endless. Every ding of the passing floor echoed in my chest. When the doors opened, the hallway was empty. Too quiet. I felt a chill crawl along my spine. The office door at the end of the hall was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The room was pristine. Expensive furniture gleamed under the bright lights. And there he was. The investor. Bigger, stronger, more confident than I remembered. But there was something in his eyes I had not seen before. A calculation. A test. He smiled coldly. You came, he said. I nodded, my jaw tight. Emma stepped forward, just behind me, her presence calm but commanding. You will not touch us, she said. His smile widened. Touch you? No, my dear. I intend to destroy you. Piece by piece. Everything your little heart clings to. I felt a surge of anger, a roaring heat in my chest. But Emma's hand on my arm stopped me. She whispered, patience. Watch. The investor laughed, a sound that made the walls of the office feel smaller, oppressive. You think your love, your sacrifices, your bravery can stop me? I built this empire before you even knew struggle. I swallowed hard, feeling the sting of his words. And then Emma stepped forward fully into the light. Her eyes were steady, unwavering. "You think you understand us," she said slowly, deliberately. "But you know nothing. You do not see the nights we cried together. The debts we paid with our own blood. The dreams you tried to crush, we carried them anyway." For the first time, I saw a flicker of something in his expression. Curiosity. Maybe even respect. I realized then that this battle would not be won with money or threats. It would be won with courage, truth, and the unbreakable bond of love and loyalty. Emma turned to me, her gaze soft but intense. "It is time," she whispered. I nodded. Every fiber of my being was ready. But nothing could have prepared me for what he revealed next. The investor's smile faltered the moment Emma spoke. Her words were calm, unwavering, filled with a quiet power that I had never realized before. "You can threaten us. You can try to destroy what we have built. But you underestimate one thing: truth and loyalty cannot be bought or broken." He stared at her, then at me. For the first time, I saw hesitation in his eyes. He leaned back in his chair, a calculating look on his face. "You actually survived," he said, voice low. Emma stepped closer. "Not just survived," she replied. "We thrived." I felt my chest expand with pride. All the nights we had cried, the sacrifices, the failures, they had led to this moment. The investor studied us silently, then finally, he spoke. "I underestimated you both. Clearly, I was wrong." The room felt lighter somehow, as if the tension had lifted. He extended his hand, not in threat, but in respect. And in that moment, I realized something profound. It was never just about money. It was never just about power. It was about courage. About the bonds we forge with those who believe in us. About the sacrifices made quietly, without recognition, to lift someone else higher. Emma squeezed my hand gently, and I understood the depth of her love, not just for me, but for Lily, for the promise of a better future. That day, the investor left, not defeated, but changed. And I knew, from that moment forward, nothing could shake us. Years later, when I look back at the empire we built, the struggles we survived, and the love that carried us, I see the truth clearly. Success is meaningless without loyalty. Wealth is hollow without compassion. And the greatest victories come not from crushing others, but from lifting them when they cannot stand. I married my best friend's widow to protect her daughter. And in doing so, I discovered that true wealth is the heart's courage, the strength of love, and the willingness to sacrifice for what truly matters. We rose together. We thrived together. And I learned the most important lesson of all. The people who stand by you in the dark are the ones who will light your path to the stars. If this story touched your heart, then do not keep it to yourself. Like this video to support more inspiring stories. Subscribe to Heart Touch Story and turn on notifications so you never miss a life-changing tale. Comment below who in your life has lifted you when you were down and share your story to inspire others. Share this video with friends and family so they can experience the power of love, courage, and sacrifice.